Last season finished with a completely chaos. The magic has disappeared. How will happen in new season?
Well, it stays complete chaos, but we pick up right from where we left off. There's still no magic, and our characters are struggling to figure out whether they can even try to get it back, or in Penny's case, how he can survive.
Yeah, I mean, in the past 2 seasons, everyone had magic. Most of the characters really wanted magic. They seeked it out. I think Alice is one of the few who didn't want anything to do with it. So it's interesting now to explore what it's like for them to not have it. And the show really at the heart is about these human beings and the story of what it's like to try to grow up in this world and make it. And watching them explore that world without magic, the one thing that they all had is a big challenge for everybody involved, the writers, the actors, everybody. But I mean, there's still a spark of magic. Julia has magic, so you know, it's not completely gone.
There are hope for the magic?
Yes, as much hope as can exist in our show.
Yeah, a little bit.
Olivia, the relationship between Alice and Quentin seems finally being steady. How will be in the new season?
I mean, the relationship is really complicated. It's one of my favorite stories in the books. I think that they're very much drawn to each other, and I think they're good for each other, but maybe not right now. I think they need to grow as individuals, and this season we get to see more of that, them more growing as an individual. I mean, at the end of season 2, they started having a relationship again, but I think that was a mistake. I don't think that they should be together right now, but they can't help themselves. They love each other no matter what. But this season the stakes are so high trying to get magic back that it's really hard to have time to have a relationship. So yeah, but I mean, we'll see them spend time together this year, yeah.
And your character ended the season with the warning of a great threat. How will you where Alice face that?
Yeah, at the end of season 2, we find out when Alice was a Niffin, she pissed off the lamprey in Niffin World. I don't even know, different universe. She killed a bunch of lampreys, and I think this season we get to see a lot of the results of what she did as a Niffin. She did a lot of really bad things, having pure magic in her hands, and she was drunk with power. So he's definitely after her at the beginning of the season, and I think Alice is questioning, you know, if she's a good person or a bad person, because when she was in Niffin, since she did so many bad things, I think this season is a lot of regret, but also wishing she still had that power. So yeah, then the lamprey's kind of nasty.
And Arjun, Penny will be still with the librarians in new season, but he's gonna be very problems. For example, he's very close to die, yeah. And his girlfriend is want to betray for help him, but betrayed. What happened?
What happens? What can't happen? Yeah, Penny's where we pick up. He's still dying. He's still struggling with this cancer, but it's kind of fascinating to watch him undergo a different kind of growth than we've seen him. Penny's nearly died, I mean, 2 or 3 times at this point, and I think that this time he's finally learning something, and that really impacts the way that Katie and him are relating. You're seeing Penny finally start to accept things, fight things less, but Katie, being, you know, the fighter that she is still fighting for every inch. And so the first few episodes, what happens is really surprising. I think it's quite beautiful, but I don't think it's going to be what everyone expects.
And when we watch at the end of the season how the Fays want to conquer Fillory, how will be the battle? Because it seems it's going to be very great.
Yeah, so the fairies are now taking over Fillory, and what's going to happen there. Elliot and Margot played brilliantly by Hale Appleman and Summer Bishil, have their hands full with how to deal with the fairies. But what's cool is that storyline doesn't stay particular to Fillory. It starts bleeding into everyone's storylines in really unexpected ways, and there may not be a battle that we all expect from, like, say, a Game of Thrones style, but there's a very satisfying battle that undergoes throughout the season.
Yeah, I mean, he said it great. But Summer and Hale do some amazing work this season. I think that storyline is highly entertaining, and they took risks and are just completely insane this year. So it was really fun to watch.
Yeah, it'll be a joy for everyone to watch, for sure.
The gods are dead they died in the last season. We're gonna watch a new gods.
So actually, it's not all gods are dead. Just one god. Well, two gods, because Ember killed Umber, and then Quentan killed Ember, right? Something. One of the Burrs. One of the Burrs is dead. So what happened is that the old gods are now aware of our presence, which is why they turned off magic for us as kind of a punishment. But what's exciting is that the quest that the whole gang gets put on brings us in contact with new and exciting and interesting gods. And we find out that gods aren't that different than us. They're flawed and imperfect, and they really don't know what they're doing either.
Yeah, I mean, in season 1, it was a lot about the beast being the bad character, and I think as the 2 seasons have progressed, we've just pissed off a lot of different people, and you know, as Alice says, you know, gods have parents, and I think that the show is about consequences and in what choices you make and the actions you make, what are those consequences, and they're just a really heightened level because we're pissing off gods, but yeah, there's several different bads this year, several different villains in this season.
Can we watch new creators?
Oh yeah. We have amazing special effects makeup people. That's the word I was looking at. Masters Effects out in Vancouver. You guys are in for an amazing treat with one of the creatures we meet in the first episode. We meet the Great Cock. And I swear to God, that's what it's in the script. I'm not just being. That's what it is. And the makeup and the prosthetics that they do, and what we get, it's really something else. It adds a whole. There's more scope this year. We get to be on a boat. We get to see more of the world, all of the worlds that we have known, come to love, and that's really exciting.
The creatures are actually the only ones who have magic left. So when magic was turned off, if you were a magical creature, you still have some magic. So I think that we have quite a few creatures this season because it opens up a door into having magic around. So characters like the Great Cock can still have fun things to do and send us off on a mission and still be a magical being. So.
But they're not all like fun. I mean, we still have the lamprey, we have vampires, we have all sorts of other creatures. I'll tease this. We may see another dragon or two.
And finally, the magician has evolved. It has become more darkness from the beginning of the series. Will this darkness be in the new season?
Yeah, so I think that the increase in darkness has more to do with just us exploring the world more truthfully. And I think that I don't think that the show is, out of balance from a darkness or a lightness standpoint. I think that it's a show that's trying to tell about the real world, trying to tell the truth of life, which is dark, but it also is light. And so there's a big twist that happens with Penny in the 3rd episode that's very fun. And the 4th episode, how we deal with it, there's a lot of humor. And so I find that this season has, my favorite episode is the 8th episode, and it's so poignant and it is quite dark. The 9th episode has as much heart as any episode that we've ever done. And so I think it's about that that juxtaposition of dark and light, that life is all of it, all the joy, all the anger, all the betrayal, all the sorrow, it's all of the things.
I don't know. I think the show, I think you're right. Like when we're making it, I'm not thinking about, is it getting darker? Is this season darker? It's just, in life, things are complicated for people, and life is very dark. And I think the stories we're telling are very real and uncomfortable to watch sometimes. So I think you're right. I don't think it's more dark than the last 2 seasons. It's roughly the same. It's being a human being.
Okay, so thank you so much.